so bright? Okay. Well, we are live, and I am going to get this stream shared with some folks so we can have some people on here. Okay. Okay. So, just a moment. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I hope everybody's doing pretty good so far. Whoever's here, welcome. Okay, firing that off. And I'm just gonna let the group know. Then we can get started soon here. And if any of you guys, hey Darren, good to see you. If any of you guys have questions that you want to ask right now, while I'm sort of getting things set up, feel free to let me know. Q&A starts now. Okay, bada boom, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. Okay. So, let's see, where are you? There you are. All right. Hey, Jose, or maybe it's Jose. Um, good to see you. Um, so yeah, this week we're gonna cover a couple cool things. And I sort of forgot what questions I'm gonna be answering, so let me check on that. Oh, hey, Jason. Jose, Jason, I guess. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be covering can an agent handle 15 clients without mistakes, without making mistakes, getting tired. Also, how does appointment booking work? And then I'll make up a third. And any questions that you or Jason have, feel free to ask. So yeah, the entire premise of this is that we do these every single week. Or I try to do them every single week. I've got a good streak going. And essentially, the purpose of these live is that I have a couple prepared questions to answer, but if any questions come in during the live, the priority goes to answering those live questions. And so, I'll answer anything regarding business, regarding life as an entrepreneur, regarding owning a call center or a virtual receptionist company, anything along those lines, right? Yeah. So we're about 3 minutes and 30 seconds in. I should probably put in the description or something. I usually start trying to answer things about 5 minutes in. So let's see, we're about a minute out. Now I'll start answering some questions here, just waiting for a few other people if they'd like to show up, and then we'll get things popping. The phone completely blown up, so let me turn that off. Yeah, so Darren, he was up early in the morning. Wait, it's got to be early in the morning right now for you. It was 4:30 at 7. So is it 3:50 in the morning for you, Darren? If it is, then I don't know what to tell you. You need to come over to the other side to the tribe. It is time. Jesus Christ, that is rough. And you've been on here every single week, so I think it's time, buddy. Feel free to chat me afterwards. And Jason, where are you located, man? El Paso. How come when you put an iPhone on Do Not Disturb, it still decides to disturb you when a call comes in? I don't understand that. I switched to the iPhone midway through last year specifically so I could get an Apple Watch. And during that, I'll answer that in just a second. That's a good question. Um, but yeah, the whole iPhone thing, man. On my Android, I could just, if I didn't want to answer a call and I was on Do Not Disturb, it did not disturb me. On the iPhone, it's like, it's really more of a formality. We don't believe in not disturbing you. We will disturb you if we feel it is necessary to do that. Like, okay, Apple, I'll just turn the phone off. Oh, Jason asked a great question from the beginning. Okay. Goa. Wait a minute. Goa as in India? You're not in Goa, India. No way. Oh my God, he's in Goa, India. That's incredible. That is fantastic. So my wife is Gujarati, Jason. That is a very random place to. That's fantastic. Wait, so are you Indian or do you just happen to be located in this magical place in India? What? Darren is originally from Goa? This is unbelievable. Okay, so this is y'all from Goans. No Goans. This is fantastic. I'm so excited right now. Man. Sukayeche. Fantastic. So man, this is very hilarious. It's really crazy how small the world is. We seem very far away, but the world is small. So my wife's name is Manali. That's also the name of a city in India, which I'm sure you know. But yeah, Goa is where, for those of you that are not Indian, Goa is where a lot of people go to sort of vacation and relax and stuff. Um, it's sort of like if you're trying to find somewhat of like a Bali or something in India, you would go to Goa. So fantastic stuff. Okay, so let me get to it. So the first question is, can an agent handle 15 clients without making mistakes or getting tired? And that was asked by somebody that private messaged me. And so the answer to that is no. Just like when you think about, being a sales rep in any contest, if you've ever sold anything, you can remember 15 different clients very easily. Like it's not even approaching, it's nowhere near approaching, any type of capacity in your mental state. The only thing you need to know when you're handling certain clients, because we don't go incredibly in depth. It's not like we're personal assistant to the company. We're simply answering phone calls, transferring the call, taking messages, maybe book an appointment, answering simple questions. But if someone, ask us something incredibly in depth, then we refer those types of questions to the owner or manager, or at least some employee within the company, right? And so in that regard, you know, it's extremely easy. The average sales rep can handle around 300 sort of contact to the extent where they have a pretty good idea what's going on with that particular account, like off the top of their head. And a very good sales rep, the top one can, remember up to like over 500. So it actually works the same way as far as agent. The typical agent can handle up to 250 to 300 as far as in their mind. And so the way that we do it, or that we did it in my company, is that there's groups of like 5 or 6 agents in a group, and collectively that group will handle anywhere between 40 to about 80 clients. It's funny, I'm the one yawning, where Darren is up at a crazy time and Jason's up at an even crazier time. It's probably like I don't know what time it is over there. But so uh it's pretty easy for an agent to remember 40 to 80 different clients. That's literally never a concern ever. Now, obviously, there's some ramp up time, like you have to learn each one of their accounts. An agent needs to take calls um, from each one of those types of clients in order to have an understanding of, um, and then also when a new agent is starting off, they'll be trained on the nuances and sort of quirks of each client. But once they understand it, it's not hard at all. Okay. So the second question that I wrote will be answered later. But Darren quickly asked, is it easy to get HR clients for a call center? HR as in staffing agency clients? Um, I don't think HR is necessarily a really good fit for the virtual receptionist space. Um, I honestly, I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I honestly can't think of one HR company that utilizes this type of service. We had over 1,000 clients, and none of them were HR companies. So when you say HR, if you're talking about human resources, then I don't think I wouldn't know. I mean, maybe it's a thing, but I wouldn't know. We never went after it, and we never had any. 99.9% sure we didn't have any lead that came in that were HR. Okay. Jason asked, start off? Uh, how do you start off from knowing your specified market and reaching out to newer heavy clients that make a business um, that make a difference for your newly formed business? Um, I'm not certain exactly what you're asking there, but um, if you could try to sort of restate that question a little bit, I'm not quite sure exactly what you're asking, Jason. Um, uh, hey, Beardew, welcome, man. So Beardew is, I'm sure you Goins over there, you understand. Beardew, check out. There's a couple guys on the call right now that are going. They're from Goa, India. And so Beardew is my brother-in-law. He's Indian, and so he's your brethren. Hey, babe, play. Good to see you in there. um, so he asked, Don, I have a question for you. Do you work best as part of a team or when you work independently? Um, I think overall I probably work a little better independently. I like working with a partner on certain projects because you're just able to get more things done. So, like, I'm always working on 3 or 4 projects at the same time, no matter what. Even after I sold the company, I would, working on something else within a few months. I was working on this course within a few months. Now that I think about it, and um, and so in order to do that, in order to work on multiple things, it's easier to do that when you have partners. You got to share the workload. There's certain people that want to do certain things that you don't want to do, right? Because your personalities are different. The things that you're good at, you might be better at something than someone else is, and vice versa. They might be better at certain things than you are. And so you try to find people that complement your skill set, complement your personality, so that when you work together, you're in a situation that the sum is greater than the individual parts, right? So I'm potentially starting a new venture in the next few weeks, actually back in the call center space, and I won't talk too much about it now. But essentially, one of the partners will be he's a really good fit for the type of clients we're trying to land. He's a way better fit than I am. Stupid. And I'm the only one out of the two of us that has call center experience. And so clearly I'll be the one that's setting the call center up and, getting everything structured in that way and devising solutions that even make sense for the potential client because I just understand the industry. So that's a good example of a partnership. He wouldn't be able to, do the call center solution without me. And it would be extremely difficult for me to land the specific clients, without him. Okay. Um, Oh, okay. So, Darren, assuming that Jason is asking that, which is how do you find the perfect industry and how to get higher ticket clients, which will actually bring in more money for your business. The first thing to understand is, there's a tremendous range when it comes to what's a high ticket versus not a high ticket client, right? Um, so, how do you define high ticket? High ticket could mean, like $2,000 a month, right? Some people will think of it that way. A lot of call centers, they go after like real Fortune 500 contract where they're trying to land, $100,000 plus a month contract, which are giant. Now, I personally never went after like very large contracts that are like, above $20,000 because a month, because when you go after things where like clients where you have to have a contract signed, what happens is that you become pretty beholden to that client. Whatever that client is asking for, you have to stick to it. You have to do it, or else you're going to lose that client. And when you lose that client, that means people are being laid off. And so a stressful is honestly sort of a big deal, right? It's something that you constantly have to worry about. Whereas, in my business model in the virtual receptionist company, the average client paid us about $275 a month. And so, with that being the case, as we grew our company, once we got it to the point that I had six-figure income or whatever, right? Um, like starting there and working its way up from there. Even when you have say like 50, 60 clients, if you lose one of 50 clients, it's not a huge deal because you've got 49 clients. Now your total revenue from those 50 clients might be, I don't know, $250,000 a year, which isn't like a life-changing amount of money, but for some people that's enough to at least pay a full-time income. And the point is that if you lose one of those clients, it's not a big deal. If you have 5 clients that are paying you $50,000 a year each, and you lose one of them, well, you lost 1/5 of your entire business. That's a big deal. And so I don't go after large clients. The other thing to understand is with the larger clients, they tend to care. Care a little bit about pricing, especially when it's a contract and like you have to bid out for it, right? Like the Fortune 500 company government contract, they basically go for the company that gives them the lowest bid. And so if you have the lowest bid, that means either you're doing some crazy stuff or your margins are the slimmest, they're the smallest. Because when it comes to this, like you can extract as much as you can out of people, but there's still agents, human agents that are answering the phone, day in and day out. And you can't suddenly make an agent, talk to 2 people at once. Like there's only a certain amount of efficiency that you can get. And so you got to charge a certain amount of money or else you're killing your margins. And when you have small margins, it's not fun to run the business. If you're doing $1 million a year and you're only taking, $50,000 home or $100,000 home on $1 million, that's not very fun. I want to be profiting at least 25, 30%, which we did when I'm doing $1 million a year of revenue. Then you're fun. I mean, you're having fun. You're in a situation where, like it feels good to wake up every day and run your business. If you're struggling, you can achieve all kinds of things in terms of revenue and clients and employees and stuff. You're achieving things, your business is accomplishing things, but you are miserable. And so maybe it's better to have that scenario than certain job, but I didn't go into business to not have things be the way I want. Okay. So so that's part of it. And then the other thing is, how do you find the perfect industry? We go over industries in detail in the course. Um, and so, so that answered the question. We also went over some industries in the master class last night. So, Darren, if you want to send Jason that master class replay, within that, he can take a look and see which industries are covered. Okay. Um, uh, oh, hi, Bay. So it's sort of funny saying, hey, Bay, play. Is a three-person team sufficient to get a company started and a $7,000 investment? Yes. I started with two people and $500, and the most I was ever in for was $3,500. Now, Bay, I'm going to ask you: have you invested in the program yet? I think if you had, then you would know the answer. But the question there is 7,000 is enough. You'll be in a good spot. You'll be in a better spot than a lot of people that were able to launch and grow their companies. Okay. Um, uh, you missed the course this month. Well, the course is ongoing at all times, so I'm not quite sure exactly what you mean. Like you can literally buy it whenever you want, and you get immediate access to it. But yeah, so $7,000 is enough. And three people is more than enough. I actually recommend that you start off with two. You won't need three. So Jason, if that answers your question, awesome, and I'm glad that that question is answered. Let's see. Um, okay. Somebody asked me when the tribe call starts. And matter of fact, I'm gonna put a link in for you so that you have access to it. Uh, that gives you access to being able to purchase the course, just so you know. Okay. All right. So what else? Any other questions that I can answer? Well, so the other question that I would prepare to answer when I first started the call was how does appointment booking work? And so appointment booking worked pretty simply, right? Essentially, what happens is that in our case, what we did was we did not we did not work with we didn't do appointment booking for a client unless they provided some type of publicly accessible form for us to be able to book the appointments on, right? And so that meant we were able to, or we would be able to, click on some URL that they provided to us. And sometimes, no one else would know about this link. Like maybe it would link to a Calendly or Google account or you can book.me account or acuity scheduling, something, right? Or maybe it's something that's specific to the industry that you're in. And so it would just be some type of form that we can fill out on behalf of the caller and submit it. And so, we just kept it really simple when it came to that. There was nothing complicated. There was another person that sort of asked about, Google Calendar. We actually tried to stay away from Google Calendars unless, the person was insistent, because when you have a bunch of Google Calendars, you have to share assets with each individual agent, and it becomes sort of complicated. So, hey, Rodney, welcome, man. So Rodney is actually in the tribe, and he's very interesting because he had like 40 agents when he joined the program, and now I'm gonna ask. I think he's got probably 80 or 90 agents working for him now. So he's got a sizable company. So congrats to Rodney. And Rodney is a specialist in cold emailing, and we're hopefully going to be doing a cold emailing boot camp within paid student group. Hopefully sometime this month. Actually, now that I think about it, 98 agents, Rodney. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Um, so hopefully we're going to be doing a cold email and boot camp with this guy to help you guys start landing some clients of your own. Okay, so um, Rodney asked, "Yo, what's good? Here's a good question. If someone wants to buy you out, how do you go about understanding what you should value your company at?" That's a great question, and it's the type of question that someone that has 98 agents would ask. So essentially, the answer to that question is twofold. The first is there's different dynamics depending on how your company sort of structured, right? Yeah, tax times sucks. Um, there, uh, there are different things to think about depending on how your company is run. So in your case, like you landed some big contract, and so I'm not quite sure if you're doing a month to month situation or if you are doing month or like if they're like uh certain contract lengths, right? And so say you've got contract that are worth a total of say, $1.2 million and they're like contract. And say you've got like four clients. Well, if you got four clients and you got contracts worth $1.2 million, that's basically the value of your company, about $1.2 million. Because what happens is that the value is going to be based off of the fact that you simply landed those contracts, you have those contracts, and those contracts have a certain amount of value left in terms of revenue. Now, the profit on those contracts is a different story. Some people might take away some of your value based off of that. So, if your total profit on the contractual value that hasn't occurred yet is say 500 grand, then they might try to put you somewhere in the middle. So maybe six or 700,000. If this weren't such a hot industry right now to buy into, which it really is, then someone might say something like, well, I'm just going to offer you the 500 and that's it. Now, on the other hand, and this is why I do it the specific way, and I legitimately thought about this from the beginning. On the other hand, when you have more clients, then the value of the contract becomes less of a factor. Because what investors and potential acquisition people tend to do is they try to think, okay, if I don't spend this money and acquire this company, if I had to do this myself, how much effort do I need to put into it, right? So essentially, let's say you've got like 100 clients. It's not easy to just go out and get 100 clients, right? It's somewhat easy if you have the right contact to land one or two clients, especially if you have a bunch of money, if you have the amount of money to acquire somebody. But if you to be able to duplicate getting 100 clients, that's difficult. And so now it becomes less about contractual value. And now it's about, okay, how much revenue are you getting? How much profit are you getting? And then you just give some type of multiple on that. So I don't talk about myself on this, but I'll give the most public example. Ruby receptionist, they got to about, I think it was $11 million in revenue. And they had somewhere around, I'm going to guess around 3,500 clients. No, 5,000 clients. They have 5,000 clients, so they must have been doing somewhere around 15, $16 million in revenue. And at that time, their company got a partial buyout. So it was a majority sale. They sold, I'm going to guess, 60% of their company. And they sold it at roughly a $60 million valuation. And so they got 4 to 5 times X on their revenue as a valuation because they had 3,500 to 5,000 individual clients. There was not one particular client was if Ruby lost that client, it would have any impact on their business whatsoever. They had a very solid and consistent and reliable system for generating new clients and new leads and such that they could depend on that, had paid off in the form of 3,500 clients in common, right? and they had a present, they had all kinds of things. And so you got not only the value of the revenue, the value of the profits, but you also have defensibility. So someone can buy in, they know that the market is fantastic, they know that the industry is fantastic, they know the industry is not going anywhere, in fact, it's growing, right? And a specific company has defensibility because they have so many individual clients. So that's why software companies actually get crazy valuations, even though a large company can come in and just build the software and possibly make it free or cheaper. But if a software has enough subscribers, that's what people value, investors value, and pay for. They really care about the software itself. They care about the traction in the form of users or subscribers of that software. Okay. So that's it. That's how I think about these things. So I hope that gives you some perspective on it. If you're talking specifically about yourself, I'm happy to have a conversation with you. Because not only did I obviously sell my company, but I've been consulting, and I consulted on a few companies that were acquiring call centers in the space as well. In the 10 to even there was one deal that was 9 figures. So, yeah. So, does anybody have any other questions at all? Yeah, fantastic job, Rodney. Really good stuff. And he's doing things in a very unique way, which is cool. Um, oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Um, guys, I need 30 seconds. So, this really large account. Does anybody have any other questions that I can answer? Oh, which one did I skip, Darren? Let's see. Um, um, well, I answered the question about HR clients. Um, any other questions, Darren? Oh, do clients really care if the agents are overseas? Example like India or Philippines. Uh, I'll be completely honest. So it does seem like they care if they're Indian, they have to really have really good English, or they need to be in sort of like a slightly different vertical, like customer service or tech support or something. If they are in the context of, hey, Birju, I see you too. I'll answer in a second. If it's in the context of, um, if it's in the context of basically replacing the in-house receptionist, in the U.S. at least, they do care a little bit about accents, and the Indian accent is a tough one. The Philippines accent is slightly less tough, uh, and we've had students hire people out of the Philippines successfully a lot. Um, I personally, if I were to do this again, I actually started a company with a one of our students where we're hiring out uh, Eastern Europeans. Rodney is using overseas agents. Um, and so the real answer to that is that some clients care, some don't, and some are in a situation where they're sort of dependent on their callers, and that can be a little bit based off of where they're located. So a certain client might be in like Texas, and it's sort of rough in Texas or in the South in general. There's not as much tolerance there. So it really depends on the owner of the company that you're working with, as well as where their callers are located. Now, I'm sort of saying this in a way that makes it seem like it's a big deal, but it's not. I would say when it comes to someone deciding whether to use you or not, accent is maybe 15% of what they're considering. So if they have some assurances that your specific agent are really good at communicating and getting their point across and having good conversation where everyone understand each other, then it's great. If I were hiring out and it was something that people were bringing up enough, what I have suggested to a lot of people is actually to have sample recording calls directly on the website where a prospect can listen to the call, get a sense of what your agent sound like, and then sort of, assure themselves, oh yeah, no, this is pretty good, and so their anxiety over goes away. Okay. Okay. So let me speed up a little bit. Um, okay. Birju asked, "What do you think is the biggest challenge new call center employees face? Do you have any advice that could help them overcome it?" That's a good question, Birju. So the biggest challenge new call center employees face is just getting comfortable. Just like anyone in any job, really, they need to get comfortable with taking calls, which is usually not a problem for people to have experience. This isn't a very difficult job. It's not rocket science. You're not splitting atoms here. But, you know, people get a little nervous when they're doing a new thing, when there's a new job. They're worried about making sure, you, the boss, is happy, worried that they're doing things correctly. They're still learning like the protocols and stuff. And so the way to make that easier is just to ease them into it, right? If they're having an issue, you don't put them full throttle in front of all the clients that they'll eventually be assigned to. You just assign them to a few, have them take a smaller amount of calls, and then work their way up to being, a fully operational agent. So I hope that helped. Okay, so I think that answered both of those questions. Okay. Uh, Mukupa, Mukupa. I hope I'm saying that right. I've seen you somewhere. When it comes to building a website, what platform or company do you recommend? Building a website, WordPress. I recommend in terms of platforms. I built literally over 100 websites, and I'm not a software developer. And I think all but two were on WordPress. It's just simple, it's easy. There's all kinds of different widgets, there's all kinds of templates you can use. Companies, I don't really have any in particular. There's some people that are in the student group that have recommended a few. I haven't used it in a long time because I just personally built out my own website. So if I have a scenario where a website needs to be built, that I can't do it because it's an incredibly technical website, in which case I wouldn't recommend that for this, because in this case you're not building technical websites. So there's some people in the tribe. Maybe you could ask in the free group. There might be get some answers there, but I can't give you a good answer on that. But as far as platform, WordPress. Okay. Um, Okay, base said I'm located in Turks and Caicos. Uh, Best place to seek for workers, Upwork, Fiverr. It's expensive in my country for workers at $8 minimum wages. Yeah, I mean, I think where you are, um, you have there's a pretty good understanding of American culture. Minimum wage. Well, okay, so you say minimum wage is $8. So how much does someone working in a call center make, or someone working make, with they're happy? Because if it's a minimum of $8, some people would still be upset if they're making 10. Or if it's like, oh, if I have a job in general and it's $8, I'm happy. So babe, could you let me know about that? Rodney said they're going to start doing some asset neutralization training. Yeah, I mean, that might be something to consider. I know you're hiring all of your people out of the same place. And so, with how fast you're bringing new agents on, and being sort of geographically limited, that's definitely going to be a factor. Um, in the U.S., there's so many people, and obviously there's no asset thing. In Eastern Europe, there's a giant pool of talent. Um, you know, we're doing Bosnia, Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro. You know, in the larger sort of regions of the globe where there's a tremendous amount of actual people and population, you have a lot of people to choose from. And so, sometimes those that have a strong accent, we just don't hire them. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people where, as you can tell, they have a tremendous amount of talent and the skill to do their job, but the accent's just a little bit too strong. So if you're willing to put in that effort to do accent neutralization training, fantastic. That's a fantastic thing. Um, okay, so unfortunately, I've got about maybe 5 more minutes. Now I got to switch over to the other side to do the student group call. Um, so I will do that. But if any of you have any final questions, I'll be happy to answer them right now while I'm still here. And Mukupa, I hope I answered that question properly. So I hope I covered everyone. Okay, I think I did. Okay. But yeah, it's a good session. I'm glad so many people hopped in. Fantastic. And I want to mention, since some of you are still here, there's I recently raised the price of the course, but there is a discount on it until Friday. So Friday, if you go through the link that I posted a little bit higher, callcentercast.com/join the tribe, then it will be less than it will be as of Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. All right. All right. So yeah, I hope this was helpful and valuable to you guys. As a lot of you know, going to be continuing to do these every single week. So if for some reason I didn't get to you, then worst case scenario, I'll be answering your questions next week. Oh yeah, so Jamaica, Bahamas, and Haiti, they're great. They understand the culture. They got a great personality. The only issue that I personally have had is that the Caribbeans are extra chill. They'll be like, "Oh, 9 a.m. I'll be there at 9:15, no problem." But yeah, I mean, in terms of the ability to do the work, there's a lot of fantastic people. For other projects, I've used Jamaicans, and they were great. They were great. There's some great talent there. But Jamaica definitely a less expensive labor pool than Turks and Caicos or Caicos. Um, any other questions or thoughts? Man, I would play some music, but on YouTube that would be an issue because everything's so copyrighted nowadays. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, Base said we have a great understanding of American culture as access to America. It's no problem. Yeah, it's true. And then also your time zone is not far off. Some of the issues with people across the ocean is that their time zones are completely out of whack. And so some of them, don't like working at 2 o'clock in the morning. Excuse me. Some people don't like working at 2 o'clock in the morning, but in the Caribbean, that's not an issue. In South America in general, it's not an issue. I don't know why I said in South America in general. Working its way south, all the way down, it's not an issue due to time zone. Um, okay, so again, I appreciate you guys being here. It's a good call. I'm glad I let everybody know. We got a good turnout today. I hope everybody questions got answered to satisfaction. Rodney, if you want to chat a bit more about this, feel free to let me know. And I'll see you guys next week. Again, price of the course is discounted until Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you get on in. And once you're in the tribe, you can hop on this Zoom call that I'm gonna hop on to right now, which is super valuable because it's Zoom, so other people can get on video and sort of participate in that way rather than typing and hope I don't miss your question. So thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you all. And for anybody that came in late, these are always recorded, so you'll have access to as soon as I end this stream, which is now. Bye, guys.